Hello everyone, welcome to the Your Overseas Home webinar on buying in Spain. We've called it Estate Agent Lawyer Currency Specialist. Meet the experts who'll get you there. So whether you're watching live or the recorded version, wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us. So this session is all about getting to know the Spanish property market and the buying process. And by doing that, we're introducing you to the three specialists whose combined expertise should make your real estate purchase a smooth, enjoyable and safe experience. If you're about to start property hunting in Spain, or later this year, maybe early next year, the next hour should be invaluable preparation for you. My name is Richard Way. I'm a member of the Your Overseas Home content team. I'll be hosting this session. More importantly, though, let's meet today's valuable experts. The three contacts you should have on speed dial as soon as you're ready to buy in Spain. They are your property agent or agency, one that has proven experience of helping overseas buyers, including Britons, Americans, and other Europeans. And that is Mike Roscoe from the Property Shop. We also have an independent bilingual lawyer who is Cristina Izquierdo Gaspar from the Spanish law firm JLCA Lawyers. And last but not least, we have a currency specialist who is Michael Lucas from Smart Currency Exchange. I've just been chatting to them, so I know you can all hear me. Welcome, Mike, Cristina, and Michael. Thanks for being here. We're lucky to have such a broad range of knowledge and experience of the Spanish property market on our panel today. So let's make use of having them here. The session is a Q&A format. We've got about 60 minutes in total. And I'll start by asking each of the panelists just to do a brief introduction about themselves, their own experience, and the companies they're from. And then I'm going to address each of them individually for about 15 minutes. I've got some questions that we're going to run through, hopefully cover off the key points, key things that we think you should be thinking about. But we also want to hear from you. So you'll have a chance to ask panelists questions, and you can do that using the questions tool that you should be able to see on your dashboard. So you just type them in there, and then I'll field them to the relevant panelist. Just a reminder, this is being recorded, so you can revisit the session afterwards. And if you know anyone else who you think might benefit from it, send them a link. Okay, Michael. Michael, Smart Currency Exchange. Let's start with you. Just tell us a bit about your experience in the currency transfer world, and then a bit of background about Smart Currency Exchange, where they're based, and the key services they offer, and then we'll get into some more meaty questions.
Yeah, sure, happy to. Thanks, Richard. So yeah, as Richard said, I'm Michael Lucas. I work for Smart Currency Exchange. We're a currency specialist based out of Hammersmith in London. We've been around for just over 20 years now, and we've helped 50,000 people plus to move currency overseas for property purchases, relocations, and various other reasons. I personally have worked in this industry for about 10 years now, and I worked as an account manager for a little over 6 or 7 years. So I speak with clients every day who go through the journey of buying overseas and help them to understand the sort of processes, the risks involved when it comes to moving large sums of money to make their eventual property purchases and their property dreams come true. So yeah, happy to answer any questions that you guys have at the moment.
Okay, thanks. I think an obvious place to start is just remind us why it's so important for someone buying a foreign property to think about the effects of exchange rates and how they can affect the overall cost of their purchase.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, it's probably one of the biggest considerations when you come to buy an overseas property. Obviously very different to just buying a house in the UK. You'll agree to a price of a property in euros when buying in Spain, and that will stay the same throughout the process. However, until you actually buy those euros to complete on the purchase, you actually don't know what you've just agreed to pay for the property in pounds. You know, you can do a quick calculation based on where markets are trading at the time, so you can get a rough figure of what it will cost, but that isn't going to be the cost of the euros for the duration of, you know, as you go through the purchase. You're probably going to need a good 2 to 3 months in most cases between you having an offer accepted and the completion going through and those euros being paid. So until you've actually organised what buying the euros and what exchange rate you're going to get, you actually don't have any visibility or control of what you've just agreed to pay for the property. And given that markets fluctuate, between that sort of time period, 3 to 5% as an average, we'd normally say, of fluctuation when you're talking about buying potentially hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of euros. Even those small percentages can make a difference of thousands of pounds to your budget. So if you don't sort of go into the process aware of that and ready to sort of mitigate that currency movement, then it can catch you out and obviously can lead to issues as you go down the line.
Okay, so really it's about having control as well, isn't it? About what it's going to cost you, and if you
Definitely.
don't take precautions or put measures in place to budget with your currency, then you don't really have control of the overall cost.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, a lot of people still think they need to use a bank to make any type of transfer or payment. We know that's by far from the best option when you're sending currency abroad. So just tell us why people like Smart are better than the banks for moving currency abroad, and what are the key selling points, key things that they offer that you're not going to get from a bank?
Yeah, sure. So with Smart, one of the biggest parts is the service. When you set up an account, you'll have a dedicated account manager, may even be me, who you can pick up the phone to and help you every step of the way. We are an expert in not just the currency part of the process, but the property side as well. So we understand what stages of the purchase you'll go through and when money will be due, and can basically be on hand to guide you through that entire process. If you were to go to the bank, if you went into the bank and said, right, I need to send some money over to Spain, they'd probably say, sure, how much are you sending and where's it got to go? And that's probably the extent of the questions that they'll ask you and what they can really help you with. So that sort of personal sort of one-to-one account management service that we provide is a big part of it, but also the expertise. If you popped into your local branch of HSBC or whatever, you wouldn't be able to speak to a currency expert. You would just be able to speak to the person that will send the money, and that's all they'll be able to do. So that's a big part. Of course, ongoing support is a big thing as well. Once you've agreed to buy any currency, once you are organising for it to be paid across, you can pick up the phone and speak to me anytime. If you try to, I'm sure anyone that's tried to call their bank in recent times will be able to tell you it can be bit of a frustrating experience trying to get someone on the phone, and takes a long time, and you're regularly not going to speak to the same person if you do. So all of that, when you're talking about moving larger sums of money, can be really valuable, just sort of to make you feel more comfortable and help you through that process. And last but not least, the one of the biggest parts is price. Banks are notorious for having high fees for sending money and also giving poor exchange rates. So as I touched on before, the exchange rate that you get when you're buying large property sized amounts of money can be crucial to your having a good budget and sort of protecting that budget. So that's just something that you don't get with banks. We specialize specifically in currency exchange, whereas for them it's one of many products that they offer. And so because of that, we're able to get you a better deal and save you money when you do send money anywhere.
Okay, I can see questions coming in. Some of them are about fees and mitigating currency exposure. So I think we're going to cover those off anyway. So we'll carry on with these questions, and if there are other questions, we'll come back to them. But I think we're going to cover those off. So and when do you like clients to first start speaking to Smart? Because this is something. It's a financial consideration. You need to be planning it really before you even start looking at property, so you have a good idea of budget. So when do you advise clients to open an account and register with you guys?
Honestly, as early as possible. I don't think I'd say that there's any time that's too soon to be having a chat with us. There's a lot of possibilities when you come to buy overseas, and a lot of things to understand, the risks to understand as well. I always find that clients that sort of get the most value out of our service are the ones that engage with me as early as possible, because I can speak to you to understand, okay, what's your specific situation, what are you planning to do, how much are you looking to spend, what are your timelines, and I can get a sort of fuller picture of what your requirements are, and that way I can give you the best guidance as to how best you can approach buying the currency, when best to speak to me, and to explain when money will need to be sent, and et cetera, et cetera. So by speaking to me as soon as possible, you just a bit more clued in as to how the process will work. If you've had a good chat with me long before you go out to Spain, when you do find a property and you're sort of needing to send, let's say like a reservation deposit or anything like that, you just know straight away. You can pick up the phone to me and say, right, we know exactly what we're doing. Let's get this sorted. Whereas if you leave speaking to me until after all that's happened, then all of a sudden the ball is rolling and you think, oh, I don't really know, what's best now, what we go from here. And so engaging as early as possible just helps you to understand that as well as you can, and have the best experience.
Okay, thank you. So you talked about the key benefits. It's a one-to-one service. You get an account manager like yourself who you can contact with any questions and keep in touch. Obviously, the rates are better than a bank. But one of the other big attractions, one of the big parts of using a currency firm like Smart Currency, is that you have solutions for minimizing exposure to the exchange rate, and helping to protect your funds against fluctuations, which is all part of budgeting during a purchase. So just talk us through some of those solutions, and how you can execute those, apply them to a property purchase.
Yeah, sure. So there's different ways that you can approach buying currency when you use a currency specialist like us. You can just, buy the currency, what we call on a spot contract. You can remember that like on the spot, where, if you need euros to go across straight away, you speak to me on the phone, you tell me how many euros you want to buy, and I can say, right, this is the exchange rate available. This is how many pounds it's going to cost you. And if you want to go ahead with that, it's all agreed. You pay us your pounds, so you transfer to us, and then we would do the conversion and pay euros, immediately across if they're required. So that can be great for, as I touched on before, if you need to send a deposit straight away or any money that's required immediately. When it comes to sending money that you're going to be needing in the future, so let's say you've had an offer accepted and you know that completion is going to be maybe 2-3 months away, waiting to buy the currency at the time, it is an option, but we don't really recommend it, because you've got all that time in between that where the currency can move, and in that time you're vulnerable to where exchange rates might move, and so you've got no idea really what you're paying, as I touched on earlier. So you do have what's called a forward contract, which is a way to agree to buy currency that you'll need further in the future rather than right now. So likewise, as I said before, you can speak to me. I can quote you an exchange rate as to what the cost in pounds will be to buy those euros, but for a future date. So if you then want to lock that in so that you know exactly what you're going to pay come completion, you can agree that with me. Usually we ask for a small deposit, in most cases something like 5%, to secure that, and then that just comes off the final balance that you owe us. And then that way you've got assurances ahead of time, you know exactly what your costs are going to be, and you can budget around those figures knowing that they're not going to change. So those are the two main options when it comes to buying currency. You do have other options as well. Let's say you've got time on your hands and you've got sort of a healthy buffer in your budget, and you wanted to aim for an exchange rate that's currently not available. Say you're aiming for a rate that's a bit higher than where we are now. We've also got options such as what's called an order to buy. You can say to us, I'm trying to target, let's say 122 or something like that. And you can give us the instruction to say, okay, well, if that rate becomes available, I want you to buy X amount of euros. And that way you've got the instruction in place that if the market ever reaches that level, we go ahead and buy it for you straight away, and you can catch it, even if it happens outside of office hours, if it happens overnight, whatever. You've got the tools to get that exchange rate for yourself if the like I said, if the exchange rate is available and maybe you're not. So it's another good way to, another tool in your arsenal.
So really, it's about forming a relationship, a working relationship with your clients, understanding what their approach to risk is, how safe they want to be, how much exposed they want to be to rates, and understanding where they are in the purchase process, and then helping them individually, which
Yeah,
absolutely you won't get from your bank.
yeah, everyone's got differing circumstances. Everyone's got different budgets and different approaches to risk. And so, yeah, as you say, that is the bespoke service that we provide, so that we can understand what works for you. Do you have more aversion to risk? Do you sort of are you sort of happy to sort of take the gamble with these kind of things, and work out what's right for you, and ultimately provide you the service that you want.
Okay, and let's tackle the questions about fees. How do you charge clients, or do you charge clients for your service? Just tell us how that works.
Sure. So of course, you know, we're a business. We do obviously are it to make a profit ourselves. So yes, there are charges, but they don't come in the way of fees specifically. So there's no fees for any service that we provide. We make money as a business through the buying and selling of currency. So where you see the market rate, you can Google and see pound to euro. Currently, it's slipped a little today into the sort of 119s. That's the market rate, but it isn't a rate that's commercially available to you or I as a consumer. We buy the currency not quite at that level, but just beneath it. And that's sort of the level that we buy at, and then we sell it to you at a level slightly underneath that. And the difference being how we make money as a company, essentially. So if you ever see the market rate, you can expect that the rate that you'll get from us will be somewhere below it. How far underneath it is dependent on a few factors, partly how large of a transfer you're looking to make, what your sort of overall expected amounts that you're looking to make over the course of your total transactions. That all comes into consideration, and also volatility in the market at any given time. So there's various factors at play that sort of determine that. But generally speaking, yeah, no other fees involved. If we quote you a cost in pounds to buy X amount of euros, that's exactly what you pay.
Okay, just conscious of the time. Thank you for that. So a very important thing: how do clients know that their money is safe or protected when it's when you're using smart currency exchange? So just quickly, we should say that when you have a client who wants to make a transfer, they will send the sterling amount required for the transfer into the company smart currency exchanges account, which is a Barclays account, I believe. Just tell us the process and how people know that their money is safe with smart currency exchange.
Sure. So yeah, you're absolutely right. So as you said, all of our accounts we hold with Barclays. As I mentioned earlier, we've been around for 20 years now. And helped a lot of clients in that time. So any money that is transferred to us is held in segregated client holding accounts. So that money never mixes with Smart's sort of business capital, as it were. So at all times it's sort of protected. You're covered up to an unlimited amount in terms of, you know, let's say worst case scenario, something happened to us while your funds were in transit. That money is protected and completely kept away from our accounts. So it will be returned to you in full. So completely secure from that side of things.
Brilliant. And very quickly, before we move on, I'm right in saying you have an online service as well, so people can make transfers via the website, an online platform. That's correct. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So you can get yourself set up online as well as having a sort of telephone relationship as well. So if you sort of prefer to do things off your own steam and you needing to send money whenever you like, you can log in online, get rates to buy currency that way, and sort of handle the process yourself as well, up to a certain value. But yeah, anything sort of larger, if you're talking forward contracts, then generally best to speak to your account manager directly.
And the other thing is, very useful tool is you send out bulletins and news about the exchange rate and key movements, just so that clients stay informed. Really, is that via emails and things?
Yeah, that's right. So once you sign up, you'll get access to our currency updates, which are posted most days, especially any day where there's anything significant happening in the market. So that always keeps you up to date of any significant movements that are happening, anything that's actually been happening in the news to be aware of, and it also just helps you understand, oh, actually, this is the kind of thing that moves rates, and that way you get a better understanding yourself going forward. So that will be available to you once you're signed up as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael. Just quick before we move on, Cristina and Mick, start with you, Cristina. When clients, British or foreign clients who are buying in a different currency, come to you, have they already thought about currencies? Do they sit down and say, I'm buying a property I want to buy a property for 400,000 euros, and have they even thought about, oh, actually, my money's still in sterling or dollars, and I haven't even thought about that? How aware are your clients of this generally?
Yes, so basically we always recommend to work with these kind of companies, to be fair, because obviously it's kind of quicker and easier if they have this made before the purchase of a property. So we always recommend to do it before, and also we can open the bank accounts in Spain. So normally we collaborating with these kind of companies to have all the money prepared beforehand. So obviously I highly recommend to all our clients, and obviously your clients are dealing with in this case with your company, and obviously other companies if they want.
Yeah. And Mick?
Yeah, most people obviously realise they've got to get exchange money. Some still think whatever that the bank is a good way of doing it. We from that explain that the best way to do it is with Smart and other companies, and that they get the best rates, and it's secure and everything else. And quite a few don't realise that the banks will charge them quite a lot of money, So
Yeah.
a few are not absolutely clued up. So it's as Michael has said, it's a good idea to get people to speak to Smart at the earliest stage that they possibly can, because then everything can be explained to them.
Because banks will charge you a commission just to make the transaction, won't they? And then
Exactly.
they'll also get you a bad rate, so you kind of get hit twice.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the receiving bank often will charge you.
Exactly.
Which I know that it doesn't always happen with Smart. These fees are often don't happen. So yeah, well worth it. Thank you very much. Let's move on to you, Mick, and let's look at the property shop. Let's hear about. Tell us about the property shop and yourself. I know you've got lots of experience helping foreign people fulfill their dreams in Spain.
Yes, that's been probably the best part of being involved in this industry. I've been in Spain now for 24 years. I first of all worked for a property company, quite a large one. Worked for them for 5 years, gaining experience, and then 2005 things changed a little bit, and we opened up our own agency, and have run that agency ever since 2005. Until recently, we had 3 offices: on the Costa Blanca south of Alicante, one in Quesada, one in Cabo Roig, and one in El Raso, which is Guadamar del Segura. We've had to close the El Raso offices for situation beyond our control, but we're looking to open up another one. We are a family-run business. Everybody that works for us has been with us for a long time, and we have lots of experience in pretty much every aspect of helping people find their new life in the sun, as we say. Yeah.
Okay. So you're in the Costa Blanca, which is like the core foreign market. I mean, you've got the Costa del Sol, Costa Blanca, the 2 biggest overseas markets on the Costas. Give us an idea of your typical profiles for UK and other non-EU buyers at the moment. Who are buying down there?
Probably at the moment, we've still got quite a lot of British people coming. People seem to think that the Brits have stopped coming for various reasons. That certainly isn't the case. That we've still got plenty of British people wanting to come here. Obviously, things have been made a little bit different because of the 90-day stay rules as such. But we're having quite a lot of British people coming down and taking advantage of the NLV visas, non-lucrative visa, which basically they can, they can stay for, well, they like being residents and they can stay as long as they like. So the British market is still very healthy. As far as other North Europeans, if you like, Belgian market is very big. Dutch is quite a lot, and at the moment, quite a lot of East Europeans who are coming, probably for fairly obvious reasons with what's been going on in that part of the world. There is a lot more East Europeans who I think are coming not necessarily to move here, but buying places, one, to get money out of their countries, and also to have a bolt hole, shall we say, if that becomes necessary because of the things that are going on in that area. We do get others. We get we've had quite a few Canadians, a few Americans, and then spatterings of everywhere really. Yeah,
So it's quite a multinational area.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
There wasn't until not too long ago. The Scandinavian market was very busy, but that seems to have calmed down quite a lot over the last couple of years. I'm told maybe because the Scandinavian currencies have not been performing too well. But still plenty of people coming and absolutely enjoying their experience and enjoying it either as a holiday home, or a lot of people come here to live. Everybody seems to love it.
Okay, so let's just look at let's start talking about how you help clients, because your role as an agent's a bit more involved than people if they're buying in the market at home that they know, and you tend to see a property you like, and then whoever the agent is almost, it's academic, but you do a lot more for your clients because they're buying from abroad. They've got to set up a financial profile for themselves, and they don't always know the areas. So to start off with, if someone watching today or a client who finds you online, they contact you and they say, I want to buy in Orihuela, Southern Costa Blanca, just tell us the key bits of information that you're going to need from them to help you find the right home for them. What do people listening need to be able to tell you when they contact you?
Okay, probably the most important thing is what budget are they working with? If what kind of property they think they are going to either want or get for that budget. Also, what do they want from a property? Not necessarily what they want from a property, but what do they want from an area? What do they do? What do they do in their leisure time? What do they, are they cyclists? Are they sports people? Are they into horses? Or what do they want from an area? We find that quite a lot of people who get in touch with us know an area where they want to be, but some don't. So our biggest tool, I've always said, is your ears. You have to listen to people and just try and work out what they want. Sometimes when you listen, and if you have somebody out on a viewing tour, for instance, a viewing trip or something, their things, their ideas and perception of a place can change, and we just have to listen to those people, and we can very often kind of think, well, yeah, from what you're saying, then we think this area will be better suited than another area, type of thing. So, but as long as people have got an idea of the budget, and as long as their idea of what they're going to get for that isn't outlandish, then generally speaking, we will find something for people. Another thing is, do they want a new build property? Do they want a project that's off plan, or maybe in the process of being built, or do they want something? Do they want a resale property? So obviously ready to buy and move into. That's another thing. And again, very often when we have people out on a viewing trip, that can change with them. They think they've come out to buy a resale, but then we'll show them some new properties, and they go that way. So it can change. It can change in an instant, to be honest.
And is it important that because I was going to say that an important part of the process is actually coming out to look at property, because we all like to look at properties on websites and portals and think we found the perfect property, but there's nothing like actually going out to the destination, and not just the property, it's the area, isn't it? Because you can't see what a local area is like from photographs of a property.
Exactly.
But that is
well, it's with both. With properties, obviously, with everything's online now, and everybody can look at untold images. But very often the photographs that are taken or the video tours give a better impression of a property than it may be. Equally with an area, somebody may think, oh, I want to be in Benidorm, but then when they get there, that's not the area for them. So yes, coming out on a viewing tour or on a trip is without doubt the best way. And we find if somebody comes out on a viewing trip, if they kind of do Monday to Friday, something like that, then that gives plenty of time to explore maybe different areas, obviously different properties, different styles of property. And also, if they come out for 4 or 5 days, for us in particular, we cover an area spanning from Alicante down to Murcia, into San Javier, down that kind of area. And even though we have properties that are our own listings, and we've got lots of those, but we work as well with almost every agent in this area. So if somebody wants to say, right, I want to come out for 4 or 5 days, can you find me something? Then yes, we can, because as I say, we work with, I would say 95% of the agents in this area, and we work with, I would say 100% of developers that are building the new properties. So we can facilitate in this area, let's say from kind of Alicante down to Murcia, we can facilitate pretty much anything anybody wants,
So really, what you're saying is, if you get a good agent like yourself, you shouldn't need to use another agent, and you will have, if there's a property right for you in the area you're looking, you'll have it offered to you, you'll have access to it.
Well, we will have access to it. And the thing that often happens is people make their own way out, and they will make appointments with various agents, and then what they will find is that sometimes they'll visit the same property potentially 3 or 4 times, and obviously they've seen it the first time with somebody, and then they get another agent and they visit the same property with them, and they say, well, I'm wasting my time, because I'm going seeing things that I've already seen that I've maybe ruled out. Whereas if people can have the faith, if you like, in one agent and trust that agent to find everything for them, then it rules that scenario out as well, because you could end up wasting a heck of a lot of time and being very, very frustrated, and people come sometimes. Sometimes they haven't made contact with any agents, but then they go wandering about. They don't know areas, they don't know where they're going, and again, it can be a frustrating time for the people. Whereas we can offer everything that they need, really,
And let's not forget, when you go on viewing trips, you have limited time, so you don't want to waste a day.
Exactly.
In places that you've already seen or not achieving much. Far better be with someone with good local knowledge, and who's got, who can put a plan together like yourself. And the local knowledge is key, because if people don't know the area, then they'll need to put their trust in someone like yourself to show them. And in fact, we've got a question sort of related to that, where someone's asked, would you, Mick, have information on local schools within a particular area. If someone was coming with a family and they needed schools,
Yes.
you would be able to recommend and advise
Yes.
the ones.
We can. I mean, the way it works with schools with public schooling is that you would have to be in a certain area to be able to go to a certain school. So if you want to go, I mean, for example, I live in a village called Cattrall. So if you wanted to go to Cattrall School, you'd have to be in a certain catchment area, and that applies all over. If you want to put your children into private schooling, then you pretty much choose the school, and you get your children to that school accordingly. There are obviously there's public schools all over. Private school, there is a very, very good selection of private schooling if people want to take that option. But yes, I mean, if they want to be in a particular area, we could even take people to the school that would be in that area and show them where it is, and if need be, we could probably even get access to the school for them to have a look. Yeah.
Well, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, where your service is far more expensive than an agent that you might be used to back home.
Exactly. And also as a family, we've had experience. Our two children were 5 and 7 when we came out here, and we did both private schooling and public schooling. In fact, the private schooling turned out to be not for our two. They flourished in public schools. So we, just as a family, never mind as an agent, we've got all the experience that anybody could ever need from us, to be honest. Yeah.
Good to know. Okay, back to the actual process again. So you have a client, they come on a viewing trip. The magic moment happens and they find the property they want. Will you then help them negotiate with the vendor, and you'll sort of help control the process?
Yeah. If it be a resale property, then we obviously visited it and they decide that's the one they would like to go for. They make an offer. We negotiate that and put that to the vendor. We hopefully come to an agreement somewhere in between things. From there, then a deposit is paid. Generally speaking, for a resale property, the deposit is 10% of the purchase price, but made up in 2 ways: an initial deposit of around €5,000, with the remainder of 10% payable within a month, and then the rest of the purchase on completion, which would again be negotiated when people want to complete. If it be a new build sale, if it's something off plan or whatever, then the deposits again can be anything between 5,000 and 10,000 euros, with the remainder paid over staged payments, which are paid to the developer, and those payments on a new build would be discussed and sorted out before even the initial deposit is paid, because the builders and developers these days tend to be a lot more flexible than they were, shall we say, 20 years ago, when 20 years ago you would be coming up with 50% of the price, generally speaking, within a month, whereas now that tends to be a little bit more flexible, shall we say. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay, just conscious of the time. We'll come to Cristina in a minute, but could you just give us a quick idea of pricing in the Costa Blanca, so people listening they've got an idea of what they need to buy somewhere. I guess you better treat the south and the north separately. So just start with the north. We're looking at 2-bed apartments.
I would say a 2-bed apartment in the north, and by north I'm talking from kind of Alicante going upwards, up to Javier, Denia, that way. I would say a 2-bed apartment, probably 130, 140, something like that, and upwards sometimes, obviously. Townhouse type thing, 2-bed, maybe 2-3-bed townhouse, probably 175-ish. And then villas would start, 2-bed villas, I would think up North Way would be starting 225, and the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
If you come to our particular specialist area, which is, as I said before, from Alicante down, then 2-bed apartment, entry level for a nice one, 100,000 euros. 2-bed townhouse, 140, 145, something like that. Entry level 2-bed villa, probably around 200-ish. 3-bed villa, 250 maybe entry level, and of course from all those prices you can go up to whatever you want. As per pretty much anything, the closer to the coast you get, then the prices increase, and sometimes quite significantly. But that kind of price spread in our area it would not be too far off the mark.
So if I came to the southern Costa Blanca with 150 to 200,000 euros, I'd have a good choice of apartments.
You'd have a good choice of apartments, townhouses. You may just get an independent villa, in that kind of price. So yes, you'd have a broad selection, to be sure.
Right. Final question for you. Your service doesn't just stop with helping someone find a property, because you offer after sales as well, don't you? So you'll help people post completion if they need help with utilities, or they want management for the property. If they're a second homeowner, you can help with all those things too.
We can help with well, I can't think of anything we can't help with, because of the experience of living here ourselves. We've built up a large portfolio of all services, so we can pretty much, a man that can do this. Yes, we do. Pretty much everything you can think of, and over the years, some we've had to stop using for various reasons, but the ones that we recommend, we know they are doing good work at fair prices. And so yes, we can do all that. When we've made friends with many of our clients over the years, and when we get a lot of repeat business and recommend business. So yeah, once the deal is complete, it's not just thank you very much and bye bye. We're there for anything that anybody wants, any help at all. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mick.
You're welcome.
And last but certainly not least, Cristina from JLCA. Thank you for waiting to
Welcome.
speak. Certainly not the least important of the three specialists you need in the buying process is legal representation. But just tell us why it's so important to have an independent lawyer when you're buying as a foreign person in Spain.
Yes, so let's introduce myself. So I'm Cristina, I'm a Spanish lawyer, and obviously I'm part of the LCA Lawyers. We are a leading law firm that obviously we have offices in Alicante, in Madrid, and also here in London, in Miami and Bogota. So obviously we cover the whole territory of Spain, also the island. And we are specialized in international private clients, so we can help with all kind of legal issues or legal products that all the international clients may need. Obviously, the British clients, but also we deal with all the clients from LATAM or maybe the States if someone is here today. So we understand that it's really important if you are overseas to have a lawyer, because obviously there are too many things to take care first of moving to Spain or first of buying a property or in Spain, because obviously the first step will be the exchange, obviously. So if you are planning to buy in Spain, it's always recommendable to have bank account in Spain. So it's something with lawyer can help with, but also we can help you with all the contracts and make sure that the property that you are purchasing has all the license and obviously all the checks that a property may have. But also after Brexit for British clients, but obviously with all other clients that need the visas, a lawyer can help you with the visas and obviously coordinate the purchase of the property and then moving to Spain to have everything, right. And I think much people will have a question regarding the taxes and everything. So obviously it's really important to have a lawyer to coordinate the taxes in the country of residence and obviously in Spain at the same time.
And obviously having a bilingual lawyer like yourself is really,
Well,
because,
my English is not that good, but we have
well,
bilingual lawyers in Alicante and also in London.
because if you're dealing with, if you think you speak a bit of Spanish and then you're presented with a legal document in Spanish,
Yeah. So
yeah,
obviously with the Spanish we are the best, and also we are dealing with the English too, so it's fine.
and obviously the laws in Spain are different to your own country. The buying
Yes.
process is different. I mean, just for in the UK, for example, we don't use a notary to purchase property, whereas it's a notarized process in, well, most of Europe, including Spain. So it's so much that you're not familiar with as a foreign buyer. It would be
Yeah, the
crazy not
process
to
are
get used.
completely different. As I said, I'm here based in London, and I know that the purchase process are completely different. The taxes are completely different, and also maybe you don't need a notary here in the UK, but also in Spain, obviously something that you have to do. And also the lawyers, obviously, maybe they don't need a lawyer in the UK, but in Spain it's kind of normal to have always the lawyer to double check all the contracts and obviously helping you with the register land registry and obviously the notaries.
And do you like your clients to speak to you before they found a property in Spain, so you can prepare the documentation?
Yes. So normally,
Yeah.
obviously, we prefer, but obviously it will depend of each client, but we prefer to deal with the clients at the first stage, because normally when they are finding a property, they normally would like to sign a quick contract just to have obviously the property secure. But this kind of contracts obviously normally will attach the client to a financial obligation. So it's really important to have a lawyer or a proper recommendation to sign this contract or not, because obviously normally there are clauses that are unfair for the buyer. So normally we prefer to do it beforehand just to have that time to reverse the situation and helping them through the whole process. But also, I understand that when you are buying a property, you would like to go to the completion day, to the notary, sign the deed, and obviously go to your home if it's the day of the keys and everything. But if you are dealing with a lawyer in the first stage, the lawyer can work in your behalf through a power of attorney and do all the paperwork that at the first stages you must deal with. I mean, normally a completion of the purchase takes around 6-8 weeks. So we can help you during that weeks to have everything prepared before traveling to Spain for the completion date.
And do many of your clients use the power of attorney? Because it is a very useful thing, isn't it? If you live, especially for clients coming from America or along,
Yes.
it's a very useful thing to do.
Yeah, so normally as we have offices in a different parts of the world, we can coordinate a signature of the power of attorney on the place of residence of the client. Obviously, we prepare the draft in a double column in Spanish and English, or I don't know if they are living in France and Spanish, French and Spanish, sorry. And we coordinate the signature in the notary. Obviously, we coordinate the apostille of the document, and obviously we can work in their behalf with that power of attorney, opening the bank accounts, proceeding with the NI numbers, all that kind of paperwork that they need to proceed for the purchase.
Okay. So let's just talk about the different stages in the purchase process. You mentioned the reservation contract. So a client, they find the property, they make an offer, it's accepted, and then
Yes.
they're presented with a reservation contract, and probably they pay a deposit.
Yeah, so normally they do the reservation contract. Obviously Mick can help in this way too, but obviously they sign the reservation contract. After that is the contract of arras that is called, and normally it's like 10% of the property value. And after that, obviously, if they are buying with a mortgage, goes all the mortgage stuff. But if they are buying with cash, the next step will be the completion in the notary, and after that we have to register the notary deed in the land registry.
Okay, so there's 3 steps really. There's the
Yeah,
reservation
there are
contract,
three main steps, but
purchase
obviously
contract,
like mini steps
I
in
think
the, in the between.
yeah, and then the deed, signing of the deeds at the notary. Yeah,
Yes.
and you said, and that's usually taking, I don't know, you might say different, Mick, but what a typical from offer acceptance to signing at the notary without
It's
any,
like, yeah, will depends if they are working with our mortgage or don't, but normally it's around 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks.
oh really, that's pretty quick, isn't it? Is that
Yes,
what you're
it's
seeing where
like
you are, Mick?
1 month, 2 months. Will depends obviously of the buyer, of the seller. Will depends
Yeah.
of each situation. If the seller has any debt in the property, so normally depends. But I will say 8 weeks.
Okay. What's the quickest purchase you've ever done, Mick?
I'm
Have
just
you
going
done
to come
any
in
really?
there. The quickest we've ever done is 1 week.
Oh,
From the people viewing the property, making the offer, everything being agreed, and it was signed at the notary 1 week later. Highly, that is unusual, I've got to say. Yeah, and then the reason for that were the people that were buying were here with all the money in place. The people that were selling wanted to complete as quick as possible, so a week. So you know we've got to really commend the lawyers on that, because the horror stories I hear of UK certainly are not the same in
no, there's nothing
Spain,
like
for
that.
sure. A standard we put on most of our properties, that resale properties that we sell, we put a standard completion date of around 12 weeks, but very often, as Cristina has said, very often between 6 and 8 weeks is kind of normal, and it can be, if need be, in certain cases it can be longer, you know.
Yeah.
It is pretty much what the both parties need, and there are all different scenarios for different needs. So that is, even at the time of the offers being made, that can be spoken about at that stage. Do you need 4 months, or do you need it done in a month? And that can all be part of the negotiations, and it's all pretty flexible, really. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk a bit about the additional costs that come with the purchase in Spain, Cristina. So you've got the purchase price that you agree with the vendor, but then you have taxes and fees as well. Just give us an idea of what people will
Yes, so
pay.
normally they have to pay the tax of the property value. That normally will depends if the property is brand new or is second hand. So normally it's around 600, sorry, 6% and 10% will depends on the kind of property, as I said. Also, they will have to pay the notary fees, the land registry fees, and obviously if they want the legal fees.
I think I'm right in saying the property tax or the transfer tax for
Yes.
second hand, it changes in regions, doesn't it?
Yes, depends of each region. So obviously, if the client doesn't know where to buy, we can help them just to choosing maybe the cheapest one or the worthy one, either one. But obviously, if it's a brand new, they will be paying it's like the VAT, the IVA, that is the 10%. So it's exactly the same in the whole territory.
But so if they were budgeting on, could you give a percentage, approximate percentage on top of their purchase price? Will it be 10% or?
Yeah, so 6%. Normally it's between 6 to 10.
Okay. And then once you own a property in Spain, you have other taxes to pay, like
yes. So they
tax.
have the EV that also it depends of the area that is the property. So this is the property tax, annual property tax. And if they are not resident, they will be paying that is called in Spanish the INR, sorry. That is basically is the tax for non-resident. That is like a really low tax.
And how do you pay? How do people pay that? Do they have to fill in a form?
Yeah,
A
so
return?
normally it's they annually they must pay these taxes. So normally they must fill the forms to present to the HMRC, the Spanish HMRC. So basically it's La Hacienda Española, and also we can help them with this kind of stuff. So if they need
I was
us,
going to say your firm
send
can
me
do
an
these
email.
things.
Yeah, we help with
Your
this kind
client,
of
they
taxes.
can do that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if I buy a property, I can say to you,
Yeah. So
Please help me with
basically,
everything I need to do, my obligations,
yeah,
and that
we
will.
offer
Yeah.
like the annual services that are basically these kind of services to act in their behalf of all the clients that have properties in Spain but are not residents. So we can help them with these forms, and obviously they have to deal with another taxes.
Okay. And then we've got a few questions here, but just before we get to the questions, buying on within a community or within a resort with communal areas is quite popular, and it's normal in Spain on the costas. What things should people be careful of when they're buying it within a community, because you're going to
Yes.
have fees and responsibilities? Just tell us about those things.
Yeah. So normally, to buy a property in this kind of communities is like to be part of a business. So obviously, if something happens, the I mean, they will be involved in a charge on top. So normally, they have to think that obviously maintaining like a pool, a tennis court, or something like that is super nice, but obviously the price will be higher at the end. So this is basically the thing that they have to have in mind, that obviously this is a high maintenance um, kind of properties. So
And will you check the community
yeah,
regulations, and that will
yes.
be part of your due
Yeah.
diligence? Yeah.
Yes. So normally we do the due diligence of everything of these kind of communities, but also if they are, I don't know, they are planning to buy an off-plan property with this kind of utilities, we can do the promoters due diligence too. So obviously, if they are planning to do this kind of purchase, let us know and we will do the full report in their behalf.
Perfect. And as you've mentioned it, buying off plan, you need to make, and Mick touched on it, you need to
Yes.
make stage payments, so you're paying money to a developer before
Yes.
you've received your property. What sort of precautions, what protections are there for your stage payments? And do
Yeah.
you check that these are
Yeah.
in
So
place?
normally when they are buying off plan, they have to have in mind three things maybe. So the first one will be the financial situation of the promoter. Obviously right now everything is fine, but a few years ago we had some problems with the promoters. So I think could be a sensitive stuff for the new buyers, but obviously I have to confirm that everything now is fine. The other thing will be the situation with the bank. So if they are, I don't know, do a bank deposit, so the all the rights that the bank could give them back. And the last one will be the completion date. So normally, if they have a lawyer, the lawyer can act in their behalf just to check that everything is going as the promoter said, and obviously it will be ended at the time that they basically said, because it's really important when you are buying a property that maybe you will have the keys in 2 years, basically have the keys in 2 years and not in 4. So it's really important to double check all these situations with a lawyer, and obviously with a real estate agent that can coordinate these kind of details in their behalf.
So will you have penalties in the contract?
Yes.
Is that how
Yes.
you do it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much, Christina.
You're
And
welcome.
just staying with you, because there's a question here I think is relevant for you. And Sarah, she asks, um, she's a UK citizen, but she's resident in another country, so not
Okay.
the UK. I don't think it's Spain. She doesn't say. Does that affect the tax rate that she pays when she buys a property or sells it? So let's, for example, she's a UK citizen, but she's living in, for example, France, and then she
Yes.
buys a property in Spain.
Yes. I mean, basically, will be exactly the same. Obviously, I would like to double check the country, obviously, just in case. But normally, they will be paying the taxes as a non-resident. So at this point, I don't know, in the future, they will be paying the same taxes like if they are resident in, I don't know, in France, and obviously in the UK and other countries. The other point that I always recommend, if they are buying a property in Spain but are resident in another country that is not the country of the nationality, if they check if they can check with the, I don't know, if with a French lawyer, because normally they will not be paying taxes in Spain, but maybe they will paying taxes in the income in France, for example.
Okay. We've just prompted another similar question, so I'm going to ask you this. I think this is not as complex. It's a UK citizen who's married to a German person. If they buy a holiday home in Spain, can they stay more than 90 days, or how does it work? So there's a UK and a German citizen, and they're married. So obviously the German is an EU citizen also.
Yes. So for the German citizen, obviously he will be allowed to be as much as he wants in Spain. So obviously he is not attached for this rule because he is a European citizen. And obviously for the UK national, they must apply for a visa. Doesn't matter if it's a non-lucrative visa or maybe a reagrupación familiar. That is the reagrupación family in Spain. So obviously we can check the best way to proceed in this case, but it's really important to know that doesn't matter if you are married with a European citizen, they must apply for a visa. Obviously the visas can change in each situation, but if they would like to spend more than 90 days in the whole Schengen territory, they must apply for the visas.
Okay, thank you. Mick, one for you. I'm imagining you might get this scenario often enough. So it's Gail asking if they have to sell a property first in the UK to fund a property to retire to in Spain. You've got to work out your timings, haven't you? What's the best way of doing that? Do you wait till you've got an offer accepted in the UK before you even look in Spain, or?
I would say so, because coming looking in Spain in before you sold in the UK is not a problem. We will always show people properties even if they're not in a position to actually commit. We work with people sometimes for months and sometimes a couple of years. But the best thing is you sold your property in UK or wherever, and then come down here and find something down here. Because the UK seems to be quite complicated. You think you've sold your house, and then 3 months down the line something happens and it's not sold. In the meantime, if you've come to Spain and you've put a deposit on something here, then you can't honour that agreement, and you're going to lose some money. So it's quite difficult if you were waiting to sell something in UK to be able to commit to something here. But as I say, in the meantime, if people want to come down and take a look, we are prepared to show people things, even if they're not in a position to be able to say, right, we'll buy. Some agencies won't do that, but we do for sure. As I say, sometimes we work with people for months, if not a couple of years, type of thing. So it gives us an opportunity to build a rapport up with the people, and obviously some trust there as well. So, but yeah, always best to have sold your property wherever you're selling it before you come to have a look. Yeah.
Could there also be a risk of if you end up owning two properties at once and living and moving to Spain, of being liable for capital gains on the sale of your UK property, which then becomes a second property? Is that?
Yes, I would say that is a possibility. Yeah. To be fair, we the majority of people that we deal with over the years, the majority are either pretty much down the road with having sold the property in UK, or they've actually sold and they're coming out anyway. Or obviously we get a lot of people who are not selling in UK, they're buying a holiday home here, or sometimes people are just buying a home here and they spend the time between UK and Spain. So yeah, but the tax element, I would guess there is some danger of that. Yeah.
Okay. Quick one here. I noticed from previously, Michael. Can Smart help with US clients? Is it possible to help US clients who are moving money from, say, America to Spain?
If they're based in the US, not currently, although I believe Smart are working to sort of change that so we can help people based in the US. So no, you need to have either be registered in the UK or have money sort of flowing through the UK, as I understand it. But that could change in future.
That's to do with American licensing laws, I believe, isn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, we are running over time now. Let's do one more. If you get a UK state pension and you move to Spain, you can still receive it, can't you? And I believe that's something you can either get it transferred straight to Spain, or you might want to do it through Smart, which would mean you could either fix the exchange rate and then build that into it. So the answer is yes, you still receive it.
Yeah.
And can you get it paid?
I think both
straight
of those things, both of what you've said there, either you could receive it in UK and then transfer it obviously through Smart. I believe the other thing is it just gets transferred direct from UK to your Spanish account. But I do know, because I only found out the other day, that the payment actually comes from the States. So why it goes to America and then from America it comes to Spain? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't understand that, but there you go. But yes, either way, it sounds like either way it's fairly simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would always, sorry, Cristina, I would always say to clients to have their pension paid to their UK account first, and then let us sort of convert it for you, because if it goes directly from your pension provider to you in Spain, obviously you have no control of when that conversion actually takes place and at what rate that it's going to go through at. So while it will just come through and land in your account, you really have no control of what you are to receive or the timing of the transfer. So generally, I'd recommend paying it into the UK account and then organising to be converted through us at your discretion instead.
Okay.
Yes, I would
Did
like
you
to
want to
add.
add anything?
I would like to add, because I understand that this person would like to retire in Spain. So obviously, they will need then the non-lucrative visa to reside in Spain, and they can use the state pension to demonstrate that they have enough funds to cover this visa and live in Spain. So obviously you can, and obviously it can be worth it for you if you are applying for the non-lucrative visa.
And the non-lucrative visa, that is the visa that most people retiring will apply for, because they can't work.
Yeah.
It's not one that allows you to work, but
yes, they can reside in Spain, but not work. So normally it's the visa that all the people that would like to retire in Spain is applying right now. And if they would like to work remotely in Spain, they must apply for the normal visa.
And you, JLCA can help with these visa applications.
Yes.
That's correct. Yeah.
Great.
We are going to have to end it here. Other questions can be answered by the UMC's home team after the event. But otherwise, thank you very much to our panelists, Mick from the Property Shop, Michael from Smart Currency Exchange.
Thank you very much.
And Cristina from JLCA. Appreciate you giving up your time. And it's been a very informative, and certainly I've learned stuff this afternoon. Very useful seminar. Thank you to our audience who's watched this live, and also if you're watching it on catch up, we hope it's useful. A small request from us, the Your Overseas Home team. If you have found it useful, please do leave us a review on the review website Trustpilot. And I also have a save the date for you, which is the Your Overseas Home comprehensive virtual event on the 22nd of March. So it's a virtual event which involves agents, financial advisors, lawyers, all the different service providers that you need when you move to a whole host of destinations or you're relocating. And we'll have seminars as well where we'll be having discussions like we have today. So all very useful, and you can take part from the comfort of your own sofa because it's a virtual event. So and people like Mick, Michael, and Cristina will be talking to you live in real time. So you can register using the link that's, I believe, popped up on the screen now, and it's free to join. So why not? That's it then. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to our panelists.
Thank you.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.